Hi, I am Samuel Gray, and for my last 10 service hours, I helped out at New Life Community Kitchen, which is a church downtown located near the university. And so essentially, what New Life does is they prepare food for the homeless during lunch. And so, my friend Landon and I headed down there a couple times a week, and by the time we got there, all the trays were already prepared. But basically what we would do is put those trays on a cart, and then we would take some packages of water and sometimes some cartons of milk, and we would put them on a cart, and we would go out, and the homeless people would basically be standing in a single file line. They would come up and they would say, okay, I'm picking up food for 3 people, me, my wife, and my child, for example. And so then Landon and I would put 3 trays of food in a bag. We would put 3 waters, 3 milks in a bag, and then we would hand that food to them, and they'd be on their way. So that was essentially the service project. Something else that did come up was one day when Landon and I had showed up to help out. The church kitchen had unfortunately been severely flooded by the rain from the night before, and so we weren't able to serve food. But instead Landon and I stayed, and we helped soak up some of that water, and then also we mopped the floor and cleaned it a little bit. And so that's basically what we did. Now, some of the questions that need to be answered that I felt pertain to this service project was, one, how my strengths and gifts were utilized in this service. And so I think that my strength of food service came in. I actually worked at Taco Bell for about 3.5 years, and there, I got pretty good at not only getting the food and serving the customer quickly, but also in a kind manner. And I think that translated to this service project. Even though they weren't customers, they still want to get in and out of that line quickly, get their food and drink, and they want it to be done in a kind manner. And so I tried to take those skills that I gained from my time at Taco Bell and put them into this project, so that these homeless people would at least have a good time coming to get their lunch. Another question that I wanted to address was the short-term and the long-term effects of my service, or what I feel like those effects are. The most obvious short-term effect would be the fact that these people are being fed. They're struggling, they're in a tough time in their life right now, and they're hungry. So this solves that in the short term. And, even in the long term, because they're serving plates every single weekday. So that's one effect. Another long-term effect is that these people who are struggling are out there seeing Lee students, they're seeing this church, and they're seeing them give back to the community and be a helping hand. And so, hopefully that can have a positive impact on those people, and they see Lee and the church and Christianity as a whole in a positive light. And then the final long-term effect, I would say, comes from the day that we mopped up all of that water. And that's just because, all that water, that stopped them from being able to serve food that day. And so by us getting all that up, cleaning up the area, they were able to get back to work the next day and continue pushing out meals for the homeless people in the community. And then the final question that I wanted to address was how I view my role in the larger community now. And I kind of just wanted to talk about the impact that this service had on me. I've lived in Cleveland my whole life, and I didn't realize how many homeless people we had, or like how big this issue was. And so that definitely had an impact on me, seeing that. And then I also just wanted to say that you know, when you hear about homeless people, you think it's sad. I always thought it was sad, but I was just like, you know, okay, yeah, homeless people, that's just a thing. But seeing them, interacting with them face to face, it makes you realize that these are real people that are really struggling, and they're just like me. You know, I could be in that situation. And so, I don't know, that kind of changed my perception of like homeless people. You know, now uh, I can put a name and a face to that issue.